Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi. It is Sunday the 12th of October 2025 and I'm back at the Bath West showground because it is the Bulldog Toy Fair. It's a bit of a gloomy morning, but that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be good toys inside. I have a few projects that I'm sort of trying to find pieces for. In fact, I know I'm going to be picking up a couple of pieces because I've already arranged that prior to coming here. And even yesterday I went to a place in Weston Super Mare and I managed to pick up a few bits which I will also show you later in the video. So let's just get on, go inside and see what we can find today. I'm hoping for some bargains. We just have to see what we can find. And there we go, I'm now back in the car. That was actually a really good fair. Lots of stalls. It was stalls on the ground floor and on the top floor. That means it's really popular and a lot of variety of stuff. So lots of sort of 80s, 90s, a bit of die cast for some trains as well. And I managed to pick up a few nice pieces. Not a huge amount this time, but some really nice ones and some oddities as well. It's always good to pick up oddities and a couple of Miles Mayhems, which is always an extra bonus. So let's head on back to toy-polloi and I'll show you what I got. I'm now back at toy-polloi and we can take a look at the things I bought. First up, I do need to say a massive thanks to everybody who stopped me and said hello. There were so many people who I sort of bumped into who watched what I do here on toy-polloi, and it's always lovely to sort of stop and chat with you all. So thanks to everyone who said hello. So the first things I picked up were these, and these are all from Lawrence at Toy Planet UK. I sort of pre-arranged to pick up a couple of things from him. I'm working on restoring a M.A.S.K boulder hill, and I was missing a few parts. It just so happened he had two of the bits I needed, so I'd already arranged to grab these from him. So this is one of the sort of blast doors for the sort of bunker section of Boulder Hill, and then this is the gas sign, which is all complete, but it is a little bit on the broken side, so it's going to be sort of fun to try and work out if this actually can be repaired. You can see here there's sort of broken right at the top in a really awkward place to fix, so I'm not quite sure if that can be repaired. It may be I have to find a replacement, but I will give it a go. It's always fun to see if you can actually repair something like this, and I'm guessing that's possibly a fairly common break just from the way this set is designed. So those were the first two things that I'd arranged to pick up from Lawrence, but he also has a rummage pot of figures, and in there were these two AT-AT drivers. As you can see, they're in a fairly sorry state, but I'm still building a yellow squadron, so any AT-AT drivers, any Imperials, if they're under a few pounds, I will pick them up. These will probably clean up pretty nicely actually. You can see there's a fair amount of dirt and grime on them, but I reckon a good clean and those will look pretty reasonable. So yeah, these were the bits I picked up from Lawrence. Always good to see him. He's always got good stuff on his stall. Next up, a few sort of loose figures, and these were really good to find as well. If you've watched my second channel, you will know I am building a Mile of Mayhem. So as soon as I saw that there were a couple of Miles Mayhems for sale, I had to grab them. I got both that were on the stall. These were marked up at £4 each, but actually it did a very nice deal for me. So I got the two figures and this Skeletor for £8. So that was really kind, and yeah, it's always good to get a few more Miles Mayhems. If you haven't checked that project out, then I do recommend heading on over to toy-polloi 2. I've got an update video with a big milestone that we've just reached. So that's two more Miles Mayhems there, and just a bog standard Skeletor. I still say if these are under £3, I will grab them, and this was actually for £3, so with the deal it was even better than that. But as you can see, just a bog standard Skeletor, bit yellowed, very floppy legs, but a nice figure. I did get one other figure from another store. This was again just in a rummage pot. This is Decker from Star Trek the Motion Picture. I've already got this figure a few times, but this one seemed in particularly nice condition, although it is quite dirty. So it's another of those figures that I reckon if I clean it up, it will look a whole lot better. And he was only £2. You don't see the Mego sort of Star Trek figures particularly often. They used to be very common, sort of a few pounds each. Now when you do see them, people are asking sort of upwards of £10. So to see one for £2, I thought it was well worth grabbing. I will give him a clean later. In fact, I'm going to give a few of these figures a clean because yeah, they do look like they would benefit from a bit of a wash. My sort of favourite little pickup of the day was actually this, which is a knockoff Episode 1 Battle Droid. Now, I've got a soft spot for the Episode 1 versions of the Battle Droid. I know they've released him multiple times, but the Episode 1 figure I really particularly like. The fact he comes in sort of 4 different versions. I've seen this knockoff type card before, but especially the one with Princess Amidala there, but I've not seen one with a Battle Droid, and so for £5 I thought I had to grab him. It's not the best of figures, really scruffy and cheaply made. Only got a couple of points of articulation by the looks of it, possibly his head and his shoulders. Comes with totally the wrong weapons and a really odd sort of paint job, but yeah, just a sort of novel little item. I think he'll sit quite nicely with the sort of my small collection of little battle droids that I have, and also my large cardboard battle droid that you occasionally see in the background when I do live streams. It's just a nice little odd sort of figure, and it was only £5, and considering this is possibly nearly 25 years old, it's in remarkably good condition. So yeah, this was a nice little find and a nice sort of oddity to add to my collection. The day before the toy fair, I'd actually popped over to Weston Super Mare, and there's a shop there that I always like to pop into called MT Games. It sells lots of second-hand games and toys and Lego, and the toy displays they have change pretty much every day. So every time you go, you'll see something different. And this time there was quite a nice selection of toys, and one thing caught my eye just because it was so full of accessories, and it was only £20. And this is what it was. This is a Centurion Jake Rockwell figure. So this is a Kenner Centurions figure. Now the figures themselves, I find the figures relatively often, and they're sort of about £15, but the accessories seem to be particularly hard to get, and that's what caught my eye on this figure. The fact he is absolutely covered in accessories. So for £20 to get the figure and all of these pieces is pretty amazing. Now, I don't think many of the accessories actually go with this figure. There's certainly a lot of parts for M.A.S.K here. So we've got the sort of front bit, that's M.A.S.K. The hat is his, that laser is his, these arm pieces are his, and then there are a few other bits which I think go towards the, is it the Wild Weasel, this sort of green vehicle. So it's not all for Jake Rockwell here, but there's a load of good stuff. And this is a toy line I'm sort of trying to collect. I've only so far managed to complete M.A.S.K. All of my other figures are missing pretty much every part. But yeah, this seemed like a really good bargain. So for £20, I knew I had to grab it. And yeah, it's a good start to a collection. But it actually looks pretty cool with all of those random pieces stuck on him anyway. Nice little find. Before I go, let's do a little bit of cleaning, because it's always remarkable what cleaning figures and toys does to them. These are the figures that I picked up today, and as you can see, this AT-AT driver is pretty filthy. It looks really quite scruffy, and certainly this poor Decker could do with a bit of a wash. He's got not quite sure what that is on his leg, but there's something fairly revolting on there. So I'm just going to give these a quick clean, and I'll show you what a difference it does make to them. And there you go, a quick 5-minute clean, and already these are looking so much better. This Decker is a really very nice figure. Just had a little bit of muck and dirt on his leg there. There's a few little rubs on his toes, but otherwise that is a really nice figure. And as you can see, the two AT-AT drivers, again, they're always going to be beaters, but now they actually look pretty passable. So yeah, just a quick clean is often all that's needed to make a figure look a whole lot better. And that's pretty much what I do every time I come home from the toy fair. First thing to do, give everything a good clean.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
And here are all of those pieces that I managed to pick up today. As you can see, it's a really nice mixed bag. It's always nice to go to a toy fair where there's lots of sort of stuff to rummage in and pots to rummage in. That's what I like about toy fairs. Not the stuff that's generally on the table, but when you can have a rummage in the pot, because you just never know what you're going to find. And as you can see today, I got some really nice and interesting pieces. I do again need to say a massive thanks to everyone who stopped and said hello. It's really nice to meet people who watch the video. So if you see me ever, always stop and say hello. I'm more than happy to chat and talk toys. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you've really enjoyed it and want to help me out here at toy-polloi, then why not think about becoming a patron of the channel. You get early access to all of my restoration videos, plus access to an exclusive video series called On the Cutting Mat, where I show projects and restorations that you won't see anywhere else. So have a think about that, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy-Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos.